So, because of the flood and basically ultimately drain that happened in my fish tank, what I've decided to do is I've gone back to a secondary fish tank that's going to drain into the sump tank. You see this on a lot of systems, and when I initially set up my system, I kind of dabbled with it, but I thought it was more of a pain than it was worth, considering I was using Rubbermaid totes for fish tanks at the time, and I didn't really think that it allowed my fish quite enough room to roam. If you look at my old video that I'll try and put a link to right about here, then you can see those small purple totes with my dual tote fish tank were great for the time, but they're highly inadequate for now. Alright, so what I'm going to do to solve the problem is I'm going to take this brand new recycling bin. It's a Rubbermaid plastic. I've talked to a lot of different people, and basically when it comes to Rubbermaid stuff, whether or not it's food safe or not, all depends on what's been put in it. Since this is brand new, that makes this still food safe. What I've got here is the 121 liter 32 gallon Rubbermaid. Works very handy. I went with the blue instead of the black for the garbage can because when people show koi professionally, they do it in blue, so I figured my goldfish will look better. So one of the first things I'm going to have to do to make this into my fish tank is obviously I'm going to have to put somewhere for the water to drain out and back into my sump pump. Conveniently, left over from those purple bins, I have this bulkhead fitting. So, turning the can around, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put my bulkhead fitting onto the side in opposition to the handle, so I don't have wheels underneath it and I don't have to worry about it tipping over as I'm trying to deal with it. This is going to be on a bit of a platform, but things are still highly unstable in my greenhouse. To put this through here, I'm going to need a hole saw. Find one that's the right size and just go at it. We'll turn the camera off for that portion because I'm sure you don't want to see my backside while I'm drilling through here, and a drill is not a happy sound. And then we'll get back to you as I'm putting in the bulkhead fitting. Once you've got your hole drilled through there, it's just an, kind of a nice idea. Take some sort of sharp edge, clean off your burrs, or you can take a piece of sandpaper and do it. I just happen to have the scissors handy. It's also worth mentioning at this point that when you are using a hole saw to go through plastics, in my experience, it is best once you get that pilot hole drilled to reverse your drill. You're not going to break your wrist and you're going to have a much cleaner cut. Once we've got our hole in here and the airplane has gone by, this is a good opportunity to put your bulkhead fitting in. These come with a plasticky washer, which is very stiff, and a thick rubbery washer. You always want to make sure the rubbery one is on the inside. That's what creates your waterproof seal. If this plastic one is on the inside, you're wasting your time. This is going to be a nice tight fit for me, so I can almost just screw this in. Okay, so with the hard plastic ring on the outside, and remembering that these are reverse threaded, so lefty loosey righty tighty does not work here. You're going to want to make sure that's good and tight, and as we tighten it, you'll be able to see it close and create a better seal. Now that we've got that nice and tight, you can see we've got a pretty decent seal there. And if I do end up having a little bit of a leak, I can always find the pipe wrench. Shouldn't need it though, haven't needed it on most of these, so I'll be really surprised if I do need it on this one. I think it's just giving me attitude because it's cold. Alright, so when we brought this home from the store, we discovered it's got a whole bunch of glitter finish and stuff inside of it. So I'm going to have to give this a quick bath before I put my fish anywhere near it. And I'm not going to waste your time with that. So we'll get back once I'm a little bit further along and I'll show you what I've done and what I'm doing. So here you can see just how basic that drain is going to be. I've got just a little tiny gap at the bottom there for the water to be sucked up, and hopefully it'll take the vast majority of the solid waste with it through here, through the miracle of siphoning, where it will come out this side to eventually drain to the sump tank. But we're not there yet. Alright, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a semicircle. I'm going to cut it out of there so that I've got somewhere to just run my plumbing in and wires for the heater, things of that nature. Again, pretty boring, use of airline snips. Most of us are familiar with it. I'm not going to bore you. We'll get back. Well, that may not be exactly on the lines, but it's close enough for me, Caesar and the Praetorian Guard. moving on. So basically, the plan here is I'm going to reroute the plumbing from this mess at the end so that it shoots over and fills through my hole in the lid. The can will fill up, fill up, fill up, fill up to the point of the drain here. At which point it'll start overflowing from there into the sump tank. Almost exactly like that purple bin was, that was my swirl filter and raft bed. Not much to see from here on out, but I'll get a couple more clips as I get those two pieces of plumbing tied in. And then maybe we'll show you transferring the fish once my water's had a chance to dechlorinate a bit. So pardon all the tow truck noise going on here, but here's a quick look at basically how this is going to work. So I've tapped off of my pump line to just kind of drain in here, and it's going to create a bit of a swirl. It's going to fill up and drain all the way from the bottom. When it overflows, down and into the sump tank, just like the raft bed used to. So now, if my pump keeps going and drains the sump tank out, my fish will be secure in a couple of feet, a few feet of water, and I just feel a whole lot better about that. Just filling it up now is the painstakingly slow part. Got some water coming from the house. We are using warmer water because, you know, it's an easy way to warm up the temperature a little bit. I do have a whole bunch of dechlorinator in the bottom of this, so don't be too terribly alarmed that it's going to kill my fish, because it won't. Well, there you go. Installing a recycling bin for a new fish tank because the sump tank just wasn't safe anymore. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day. The next thing we need to do is deal with air traffic.